still ignored him and formed an alliance with him. Then when only the two of us remained, he used mental control to KO me and became the sole winner. Did he underestimate my intelligence? Or did he overestimate his own? With water and power cut off, and food running short, 3 months of flooding crushed the NPC's hopes. Finally, some couldn't hold on anymore, and started robbing, smashing, and burning. The players mixed in with them too, trying to find a ray of hope. But their abilities couldn't be hidden at all, and the upper ranks were alerted. They issued a warrant for superpowered people, and anyone caught would be sent to a research institute. As for me, it felt like I was in an entirely different world from them. I spent every day wandering the island and sunbathing, occasionally checking how the vegetables were growing, and inspecting the submarines and planes. Future Island was practically a paradise, and I was unbelievably comfortable there. But good times didn't last long. I still got sold out in the end. Someone anonymously posted on the world chat. Player 99 is the world's richest man, and he must have built many shelters before the apocalypse. As long as we find Player 99, everyone can survive. The Long Silent World channel instantly exploded with messages. I'd seen the news before, so I guess the richest man was definitely a player. But I didn't know exactly who it was, so it was 99. Player 99, speak up. You're living it up alone, while watching hundreds of us suffer. That's cruel and vicious. Right, players like that should be eliminated. If we find 99, we can survive. I twisted my wrist, then typed a message into the public chat. Everyone calm down. I'm 99. If you want shelters, I can provide them, but stop dragging it out. If you don't say it, we'll definitely find you. We'll seize all your resources and kill you! I smiled and kept typing, but I only built shelters in Huaguo Beautiful Country, Han's Country, and Kangaroo Country, and each shelter can only hold at most 20 people. I marked the 4 locations on the world map, and there are more than 200 of you. There's no way to fit everyone. I beg you. I'll tell you the shelter passwords. First come, first served. Please don't chase me down. The moment I typed out the passwords, all the players erupted. Overnight, players had already reached the shelters. Most of them had some form of rapid movement. The shelters were built on high ground, so they weren't threatened by the flood. When they opened the shelter doors, it felt like stepping into paradise. Player 58 proudly started a live stream on the world chat. I can't believe the shelters were built this well. Money really is awesome. Inside, they were eating steak and lamb shanks, drinking red wine, with the table full of rare delicacies. There were already 12 people in the shelter, and everyone agreed to close the Huaguo shelter. Resources were limited. No one else could come. The other players were still on their way, and after seeing the live stream, they exploded in fury, cursing nonstop. Players outside the shelter kept arriving in waves, and whether they drowned in the flood or starved from lack of food, of course they'd grab this lifeline. Their survival instinct drove them to do anything, begging the people inside to open the door and let them in. But the players inside had already locked the doors. No matter how they smashed the doors and walls, or even used abilities, they still couldn't move that sturdy door. Just as the people inside were smug, I suddenly popped up and said something. Wasn't this supposed to hold 20 people? Aren't there still 8 more spots? I still have a forced entry password, so even if they shut the door, you can still get inside. The hidden door is in the southeast. Under that embossed brick at the base of the wall, turn it once, and the hidden door will appear. The players outside rushed toward the hidden door, turned the embossed brick, and a hidden door really appeared in the ancient city wall. The players scrambled forward, fighting for those 8 slots, afraid they wouldn't get in. A seemingly weak girl, too slow and running last, suddenly grew countless vines from her arms, and crazily lunged toward the people ahead. In an instant, she tripped a whole group of players. Players with blade abilities quickly cut the vines under their feet, then countered with a wind blade that severed the vine user's neck. One player after another fell before the shelter doors, and their survival instinct stripped away their final mask. It turned out the system's abilities weren't meant for fighting zombies at all, but for making them kill each other. At that moment, the number on the public screen kept rising fast, and the number of dead players kept increasing. Since we didn't form an alliance, we worked together so well. We were clearly born to be allies. You have no shame? You exposed my identity and put me on the fire, wasn't that you? Don't be so angry. If I didn't come up with something, how would I eliminate the players? You should thank me for cutting down the competition. While we were talking, the shelter was already full, and the doors automatically closed. Blood flowed outside the shelter, and the ones who didn't get in were still struggling desperately. The players inside the shelter were partying, not knowing what was waiting for them. I looked at my watch. It was about time. What? Don't tell me. Kui Yingsui looked horrified at the screen. The 1,000 tons of explosives buried inside the shelter were detonated, and the 4 shelters were shattered by the blast. After the explosion, the number of players dropped by 116, leaving 91 survivors. After a long pause, Kui Yingsui sent me a message. I underestimated you. Thanks for the assist. Otherwise, it would have been really hard to gather so many players at the shelters. The players most likely to reach Future Island without using planes or ships no longer existed. I'd been thinking for a year about how to wipe them all out at once. Those shelters were their graves. Then the system sent me a message. Congratulations. You are the player with the most enemies slain, and you may receive an extra reward. We look forward to your brilliant performance. When I saw that reward, I couldn't help but laugh. See? This apocalypse had always been the law of the jungle. 4 months later, the flood gradually receded, revealing the submerged land. The sun rose again, shining on the devastated land. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief, thinking the disaster was over. Congratulations, 101 players have passed the first stage, the apocalypse flood. Next is the second stage, the zombie apocalypse. Someone instantly broke down. Didn't you say there were no zombies? Look back more carefully. I never said the apocalypse definitely had no zombies. Aren't zombies even better? It's finally time for abilities to shine, and that so-called player 99 will only be waiting to be butchered. It's finally our turn to turn the tables. A bunch of idiots. At that moment, Liu Ruyan sent a private message. You don't have an ability. You definitely can't survive the zombie apocalypse. As long as you give me some supplies, and tell me your location, I can come protect you. Don't underestimate my ability. I survived the flood entirely thanks to it. Of course I knew how she survived. She used her gain love ability to trick the neighbors out of their supplies. When the rescue workers arrived, she was the first one rescued. Along the way, she kept using that love-gathering effect, enjoying other people's care and affection, and taking away their chances of survival without shame. Sorry, I'm not interested in girls. And Liu Ruyan knowing I was the richest man obviously wasn't a coincidence. The zombie virus broke out across the continents, and because I had already destroyed the planes and ships, the transmission routes to Pacific Islands and Antarctica were cut off. Right after the flood disaster, they were hit with the zombie crisis too, and national social systems collapsed instantly. Basic zombies weren't hard to handle, but the virus spread too efficiently. After repeated spread, mutations began to appear. As I expected, zombies with intelligence and zombies with abilities quietly emerged. As long as a zombie devoured the flesh and blood of an ability user, it could gain that ability. The ground network had long been destroyed, so the NPCs could only use radio to pass messages, but I didn't need such ancient equipment. The thousands of satellites overhead let me observe the number of players on Earth in real time. One by one they were decreasing. This time it dropped to 30 players. Today is New Year's Day, but no one in the world is in the mood.